Hello there, welcome to Earthfloor Chronicles. Have you heard of the Peregrine Falcon, also known as Falco peregrinus, peregrine for friends, or duckhawk for haters? Chances are you did, or maybe you've even seen one. That's because it is a cosmopolitan bird, meaning it at least passes all over the globe. On this color-coded map of North America, you can see in orange the regions where the peregrine falcon is breeding, basically in the far north and the Rocky Mountains. With yellow is the migration area, covering all of the US. In blue are the non-breeding regions, where they stay after migration in the winter. So the peregrine falcon migrates from the colder regions in the north, where it breeds, to the warmer regions south of the US. And with purple is the region where they stay all year round and don't migrate. So I guess they really like it there. On this world map, the sightings of the peregrine falcon have been marked. And as you can see, it lives on every continent with some notable exceptions. It doesn't like the poles. Probably not a fan of freezing to death. I totally get that. But it also stays away from the New Zealand. As for this, I can only guess why, but I think it just didn't get there. New Zealand is quite isolated from everything and everyone, and this poor bird probably just missed the island. If you are from New Zealand, I'm sorry guys, it must suck to not have this beautiful bird there. Also, I know that New Zealand is not on this map, and I'm sorry for that, but it's the only one that I could find, so it is what it is. Now, before I tell you how we almost sent this majestic bird into non-existence, let's get to know it better. Hello everyone, this is our guest, Mr. Steve Peregrine. Mr. Peregrine, may I call you Steve? Can you tell us who exactly is Steve Peregrine Falcon? The peregrine falcon is a raptor, meaning bird of prey, the size of a crow. It has blue-gray back, barred white underparts, and a black head. It has a body length of 34 to 58 centimeters, that's 13 to 23 inches, and this measurement includes the tail, I looked into that, and a wingspan of 74 to 120 centimeters or 29 to 47 inches. The higher numbers of these intervals are the females, which can get up to 30% larger than the males. You can find Steve and his friends around mountain ranges, river valleys, coastlines, and office buildings. That's because cities are perfect for their hunting style. The peregrine falcon has the small flex of being the fastest animal in the world while performing the hunting move known as the stoop, which involves soaring to great heights around 1 kilometer or zero point 0.6 miles and then steeply diving into the prey. It stoops at over 320 kilometers an hour or 200 miles per hour with a record of 389 kilometers an hour or 242 miles per hour. The peregrine falcons have different mechanisms to protect themselves from this crazy speed, like the third eyelid to protect their eyes. Special bone formations in their nostrils regulate the air pressure so that it doesn't harm their lungs, and they go for the wings of the prey to not hurt themselves. And the black feathers under their eyes eliminate the glare, helping them to see better while stooping. Now, some quick extra details before we move on to talk about the DDT. They mate for life and live up to 19 years, eat mostly medium-sized birds, and they are very popular for falconry. Now about the DDT. The full name is dichlorodiphenyl trichloroethane. It is a colorless, tasteless, and almost odorless crystalline chemical compound. And it looks like this, and the chemical structure is this. Beautiful, isn't it? DDT is an insecticide, so it was used to kill insects. It was used in the World War II to limit the spread of insect-borne diseases like malaria or typhus, with pretty good results. But in 1945, DDT was already available for public sale in the United States, despite little to no research about its environmental or health effects being conducted. So naturally, there were oppositions, and they culminated with naturalist author Rachel Carson and her book Silent Spring, published in 1962. In this book, she described the effects of the misuse of DDT and other pesticides. She began the volume with a fable that read like this: It was a spring without voices. On the mornings that had once throbbed with the dawn chorus of robins, catbirds, doves, jays, wrens, and scores of other bird voices, there was now no sound. Only silence lay over the fields and woods and marsh. Powerful words, more powerful than the pesticide industry that tried to discredit her. As a result, this book was the trigger for a cascade of anti-DDT movements that led to the ban of DDT in the US in 1972. A global ban was put in place through the Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants, which took effect in 2004. Okay, this is great, but why was DDT dangerous? Well, it is a POP, a persistent organic pollutant. It creates something like a film on the ground where it's used through the process of adsorption, which means it stays on the ground. It doesn't get into the ground, but it stays there a long time. The half-life of DDT ranges between 22 days and 30 years, and that's the half-life. So it's still there way beyond that. It varies with the environmental conditions. I think it is time to link our friend Steve Peregrine and DDT together. How did an insecticide make a raptor almost go extinct? Well, DDT achieved this spectacular performance through bioconcentration. Let me break it down for you. DDT is sprayed on a field to repel pests. It does a good job at doing that. Maybe too good, as it is still there several years later. And these bugs, with the pesticide in their system, are being eaten by small birds. And later on, the birds are eaten by the raptors, the birds of prey, including our friend Steve the Peregrine. And this is the cycle of life. But with DDT in this cycle, do you start to see the problem here? On a field that was sprayed with DDT, every insect will have small amounts of DDT in their bodies. And here comes a bird whose diet consists of bugs. Now, this bird and its friends can eat hundreds, if not thousands, of contaminated bugs every day. So, the amount of DDT that was spread among hundreds of bugs is now concentrated in just maybe 10 birds. And now comes Steve and eats these 10 birds. So in Steve's body, the concentration of DDT is even higher because he has the DDT that was previously spread among 10 birds and before that spread among hundreds of bugs. DDT can also get into water, but it doesn't dissolve because it's hydrophobic, so it accumulates in the fishes. And from there, the whole bioconcentration mechanism works the same. Okay, so Steve Peregrine is now very much poisoned. Does that mean that Steve will die? No. DDT affects the calcium metabolism of the bird in a way that results in thin eggshells. So thin, in fact, that most of them cannot support the weight of their mothers and break during incubation. And that's how the peregrine falcon almost went extinct because of DDT. After the ban of DDT and many successful recovery efforts, the peregrine falcon was removed from the US endangered species list on the 25th of August 1999 and is now doing just fine. So, this was the story of how a pesticide did so much harm to such a beautiful bird. Of course, it did harm to many more birds, and overall, DDT was more trouble than good. Yes, it did have good sides too. The use against malaria was actually very successful. But resistance against DDT started to appear in the vectors who transmitted the disease. It's still used for controlling malaria, but in a much more sensible way, and that's how it should have been used from the very start. Thank you for watching.